thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Gear Up. Here's what's in store for you today. The Cardinals win the World Series, and I'll give you all the details. Joe Paterno gets a record 409th win. Terrell Owens holds an open workout that nobody shows up to. News on the NBA lockout, and I give you my top 5 comebacks of all time. I'm Michael Peters, and you're watching Gear Up. First, some MLB news. The biggest story is the Cardinals win the World Series 4-3 after being down to their last strike in 2 different innings and coming back to win it all. The only other team to ever accomplish this feat was the '86 Mets, but they were only down to their last strike in 1 inning. It seems like the MLB postseason gets better and better every year. David Freese, who won the NLCS MVP award, also won the World Series MVP with a .348 batting average, 7 RBIs, 3 doubles, and 1 home run. Game 7 was also the most watched ball game since 2004. The New York Yankees have picked up options on Robinson Cano and Nick Swisher, meaning that, barring a trade, Cano will be with the Yankees until 2013, and Swisher will be with them until the end of next year. Now for some football news. Former Oakland Raiders owner Al Davis's death certificate has been released. The cause of his death has been determined to be heart failure. The certificate issued by Alameda County says that Davis died at age 82 at 2:45 a.m. on October 8th from abnormal heart rhythm, congestive heart failure, and a heart muscle disease. Terrell Owens held an open workout earlier this week in hopes of rejoining the NFL, and not one team showed up. The only person there was his agent. To all of you out there hosting Halloween parties this week, don't be mad if not everyone shows up, because you could have been like T.O. My game of the week this week is Houston versus Jacksonville. The Texans are 9.5-point favorites, but I think they will cover. They are 4-3, but they lost to tough teams like the Saints, Ravens, and Raiders. This is a must-win game for them, and I think they will cover in front of their home crowd. They annihilated Tennessee last week on the road 41-7. They are in the top 10 in passing yards, rushing yards, opponents' passing yards, and opponents' rushing yards. I can't imagine what they will do to a 2-5 Jacksonville team that is last in the league in passing yards. Be ready for a blowout today. Joe Paterno becomes the winningest Division I coach in college football history yesterday as he won Game 409 10-7 over Illinois. Some other top 25 scores were Georgia Tech upsets 5th-ranked Clemson 31-17, 10th-ranked Arkansas barely escapes Vanderbilt 31-28, 14th-ranked Nebraska beats 11th-ranked Michigan State 24-3 to improve to 7-1, Ohio State upsets 15th-ranked Wisconsin 33-29, Missouri defeats 16th-ranked Texas A&M 38-31, and Iowa State annihilates 20th-ranked Texas Tech 41-7, the same Tech team that beat 3rd-ranked Oklahoma last week. Now for some local high school football scores. Allentown upsets West Windsor-Plainsboro South 27-24 on Allentown's homecoming night. West Windsor-Plainsboro North earns their first win, defeating Hightstown 18-8 on Senior Day. New Egypt defeats Burlington City 45-30. Steiner beats Notre Dame 21-10. And Lawrence gets their second win, beating Princeton 15-12 in blizzard-like conditions yesterday. Now for this week's edition of Mike Speaks Out. It seems like every year there's at least 1 or 2 college teams whose players are caught getting improper benefits. This year it was the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Miami Hurricanes. This brought up the question of NCAA players getting paid for playing sports, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. I don't think NCAA players should get paid for playing sports. First of all, some of them already have scholarships, which is saving them a ton of money on college education. We all know that you can't play sports forever. Yes, the same goes for Brett Favre. So what will you do after your playing days are over? You get a job, which you will most likely need an education to receive, especially in this economy. Getting a scholarship pretty much secures a job after your time in sports runs out. Also, if you make it to the pros, you will get paid a good amount of money there, so there is no need for athletes to be paid for playing sports in college. If they want to make money, then they should get a job in the off-season. I would pay money to play college sports, so I definitely don't think that athletes should have to be paid for playing a sport they love. Now for some NBA news. There will be no games through November 30th, marking a full month of NBA games being canceled. During the NFL lockout, there was only 1 game canceled, the virtually meaningless Hall of Fame game, but this NBA lockout could cancel the whole season if the 2 sides don't suck it up and come to an agreement. Can you imagine no NBA games on Christmas Day? That could become a reality this year. Now for this day in sports history, in 1919, Baseball League presidents call for the abolishment of the spitball. And in 1956, the Dodgers sell Ebbets Field to a real estate group. They agree to stay until 1959 with an option to stay until 1961. Now for my top five. My top five this week is the top five comebacks. The 49ers defeat the Giants in the 2003 playoffs. They were down by 24 but with 1 quarter remaining and ended up winning and moving on into the next round. At 4, I have Illinois defeats Arizona in the 2005 Elite Eight. They were down by 15 and scored 15 points in 4 minutes, with 12 of those coming in 50 seconds. At 3, we have the Giants defeat the Dodgers in 1951 with the shot heard around the world. They were down 4-1 in the bottom of the ninth and had little hope of winning the NL pennant until Bobby Thompson hit his famous home run. At 2, I have Lance Armstrong, who won 7 Tour de France's in a row after his testicular cancer spread to his lungs, brain, and abdomen. And at 1, I have the Bills versus Oilers. The Bills were down by 32 and came back to win in overtime and advanced to the Super Bowl in 1993. It was the biggest comeback in NFL history, regular season or playoff. Thank you for watching today's episode and have a wonderful day.